Hello, darlings. I'm Mike Vonbeardingham, and this is 5 Tips for Singing in a Covers Band. So my story so far, I've been singing in covers bands for nearly 2 decades. I've had great shows, I've had some catastrophically bad shows, I've had shows where I feel that I'm singing the best I've ever sung. I've sung on days where I really shouldn't have been singing and not only hurt myself, but probably sounded like the arse end of a tramp. So it's these things that made me come up with these 5 tips to try and not only have a better show, but be able to prepare yourself before a show so that you get the most out of your singing experience during that show. Because the last thing you want to do is embarrass yourself, make a fool of yourself, or hurt yourself. You want to deliver a decent performance to your audience, so hopefully these 5 tips will help you do that. So let's get cracking. Tip 1. You choose the set list / knowing your voice. This is probably one of the key points, hence why I've put it at number 1. There is nothing worse than being a singer, and whether you're singing in a regular band or you're standing in for someone, going into a gig or getting a set list and they say, right, here's the set list. We're going to start off with AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, a load of high rock stuff that is just going to absolutely destroy your voice very, very quickly. So my tip is, be the integral part of choosing the set. Tailor it to suit your voice. If you take a little bit of time to warm up during the gig, do a couple of easy songs. Space the songs out to suit your voice because you're the one who has got to sing for the entire night. Yeah, fair enough, guitarists and drummers and bassists, they've got to play for 2 hours too, but their instrument isn't as organic as yours. Your voice is going to be influenced by so many different things, and depending on the day, will depend on what you can sing. So if you know that it takes you, say, 3 or 4 songs to really get warmed up, do 3 or 4 easy songs. Work it to your strengths, not your weaknesses. If you know that you need a song's rest after singing a really hard one, if one of the other band members can sing a song, for example, take that rest, ask them to do it for you. Don't be shy and hold back. Otherwise, all that happens is people will kind of bully you into doing the set they want to without really your input, and you'll have to just make the best of it. And making the best of it in this situation can really damage your voice. So that is tip number 1. Know your voice, you choose the set list, and don't take any shit from any other band members. You're the one who's got to sing it, you're the one that's important in this, so they can all fuck off. Tip 2. Having backup songs for bad singing days. This is one of the things that a lot of people don't understand. Your voice is a very delicate instrument. What will affect it can be the pollen count that day, how much water you've had, if the humidity, if you've got a cold, if you've got the flu, if you've got a sore throat, all of these factors can contribute to how you're going to sing that night. So if you go in and you know you've got a gig that you have to do, you can't get out of it, and you're going to turn up, and if the band want you to sing the same stuff as you normally do, you're going to make a fool of yourself, you're going to be squeaking all over the show, and it's just going to sound fucking terrible. So the key is, don't be one of these bands who has your 24 songs for the night and that's it. Because you've got no leeway, you've got nowhere to go. A decent covers band should have more songs than they need anyway, because you're going to want to change the set around. You might have an audience that you need to tailor the gig to. So by doing that, you'll also give yourself options to having songs for when your voice isn't up to scratch. So for example, for each song that you find a very difficult song to sing, or that you know is going to push your range to a degree, have a backup song that's easier. Because the thing is, the audience aren't going to know what you're going to play. So even though you might feel a bit disheartened that your voice isn't on top form, they are not going to know any different. But if you go out there and try and pull off this, really good sort of high song that you can sing normally on a really good day, and you shit all over it, they're not going to be impressed. But you could just put a different song in, and they're not going to be any the wiser. So that is my tip number 2, having backup songs to suit your voice for when you're going to have off days. Tip number 3, warming up. It's all very well people saying a singer should warm up before every show. Yes, you should. In a perfect world, that would be a wonderful thing that you could turn up, spend some time backstage warming everything up so it sounds great and exactly how you want it to be. The reality with being in a covers band, ain't going to happen. You're going to turn up and you're going to set all your equipment up, and then what's going to happen? You're going to have 5 or 10 minutes before you've got to go on stage. And you don't want to be outside in the pub car park walking around going la 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 la, or in the corner of the pub, sort of with headphones on, because everyone will just look at you and think you're a knob. Some people that may not bother. For me, it feels a little bit embarrassing sometimes, and you feel that you can't really warm up as you should. So what's the other option? Make the first few songs you sing warm-up songs. So you think, right, we're all set up, we're going to get going. What's a good couple of songs that I can do that are nice and easy, kind of in that mid-range where I haven't got to push myself? I've got 3 minutes of one song, maybe 3 or 4 minutes of another song. That's nearly 10 minutes of warm-up. 3 or 4 songs, you're kind of around the 15-minute mark. Your voice will be nicely warmed up by then. You can then start to increase the difficulty of the songs, stretch your vocals out a little bit more. By doing that, you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Because, unless you have the time to warm up, you don't want to go blitzing in with something really hard and demanding. Because all that's going to happen is if you screw up at the start, or you hurt your voice to start with, you've still got the entire night to sing. And all that's going to happen is your voice is going to go down and down and down and down and deteriorate absolutely horrendously. And there is nothing more soul destroying as a singer than knowing that you've pushed your voice too quick, too soon. So that is my third tip. Using easy songs to warm up, because you're not always going to have time to do a proper warm up at a show. Tip number 4. Be in charge of your own monitoring. Now, there is nothing worse than being a singer and having somebody else in charge of what you hear on stage. Because you may need to tweak little things. If you have a guitarist who likes to turn up a bit as the night goes on, all of a sudden you're going to be drowned out during the sound check. Generally, everybody plays quieter. The drummer will sit there playing sort of that sort of tip, 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 tip. And you think, yeah, cool, my monitoring's great. Starts playing, smash, 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 smash. All of a sudden, you can't hear jack shit. So it's so important for you to be in control of your monitoring, because if you can hear yourself, you are going to sing better. If you can't hear yourself, you're screwed. So the options I would recommend for monitoring. You can use a floor wedge monitor, which is great, but also you have to have something so loud to cut through the rest of the band. You are going to encounter feedback problems. Also, don't forget, as a musician, your ears are vitally important to you. So the fact of actually having all the sound from the rest of the band and a drummer behind you whose cymbals are like shh, you could damage your hearing. So I highly recommend using in-ear monitoring. Now, there's lots of different systems out there. Shop around, find what works best for you. The way I do my own setup, and this works well in my own band and also when I'm standing in for people. I have my wireless microphone and I have my wireless belt pack for my in-ears. I have them in my own little mixing desk. So that way I can be in complete control of what I get for singing. I will mic the guitar up just to go into my own little mixing desk so that way I've got something to sing to, because you don't want to be singing without any reference point. So mic the guitar up, that means you can turn it up and down in your in-ears, and also make sure that you've got your own voice going through your desk as well. You can either send an auxiliary out to their desk so that they can do whatever they want with their line of it, but then you've got complete control over what you are hearing. It was a game changer for me. Being able to do that made me feel so much more comfortable. I sang better. I was able to pace myself better when it came to longer shows. It completely revolutionises what it is to be a singer when you can completely hear yourself. So that is my recommendation for tip 4, monitoring, being able to hear yourself, be in control of it yourself. Lastly, tip 5, stand your ground in a band being a singer. I know a lot of singers who not necessarily intentionally get bullied by their other band members, but they kind of feel that their input is the last thing that anyone will listen to. Even though they're the person, say, who has got to stand up there for 2 hours or more belting this stuff out. It's amazing how many bands don't listen to the singer when it comes to their input in the set for the occasion. So don't take shit from people. If they're like, oh yeah, we want to do this, and you know that your voice can't handle that, or if it's a song that's too high for you to sing, don't kind of, all right, I'll give it my best, I'll try. No, bollocks to that. You have a right as a musician who knows the limits of what they can do to say, my voice can't handle that, or my voice isn't able to handle that tonight because it's feeling fatigued. Don't take anyone else's shit. If you get to, one of the ones that I detest with a passion is you've been singing for 2 hours straight. You get to the last song of the evening and someone in the audience shouts like, yeah, AC/DC, and your band member's like, yeah, cool, let's do it. And you're like, dude, I've just been singing for 2 hours. I can sing that, kind of earlier in the set, but not now. And like, yeah, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. Just tell them to stick their head up their ass. Because it's like, all right, you do it then. Well, no, I'm not doing it. No, exactly. It's a very hard, it's very difficult to sing, and you don't want to make a fool of yourself, especially if it's the last song of the night. That people are going to remember that. It's like if you played earlier during the gig and you made a few cock-ups, people are probably going to be too drunk further on to remember that. They'll remember what you're playing later. So don't take any crap from other band members. It sounds like we're saying, oh, us singers are a pretentious lot. It's not the case. The fact is, the instrument we use is more natural and organic than any other instrument in the band. And we can damage ourselves a lot easier because of that. So that all has to be taken into account. If you were out running a marathon, if you push yourself too quick too soon, you're going to be damaged for the rest of the marathon. Singing is like a vocal marathon. If you don't prepare for it, know how to pace yourself and know when you can push and when you've got to hold back, and you haven't got the support for the rest of your band to help you with that, you will struggle and the chances are you will fail. So make sure that you have a very big input when it comes to not only knowing the set you're going to do, the backup songs you can have, your monitoring. All of these points I've gone over are really important and will make your experience as a covers band singer so much better. You'll sound better as a band, and also it will feel better as a band because you're not going to sit there worrying. You're not going to be looking at the other band members like, guys, I can't do this, I can't do this. They need to have your back when it comes to these things. So make sure you're in a band that are going to listen, and if they're not going to listen, tell them to fuck off or get another band. So I hope that's been some help. That's my 5 points for being a covers band singer. So this is Mike Vonbeardingham. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I shall see you soon. Tatty bye.